Hello, I'm Martin Warwick. We are at the Small Cells World Summit in Docklands in London. I'm talking with Dr John Naylon, who is the CTO, Chief Technology Officer with CBNL. John Naylon, how are telcos leveraging existing backhaul capabilities?
Wherever possible, telcos are interested in reusing assets they already have for macro networks for the small cell environment. And it's obvious why they want to do that, because it helps to improve the business case for rolling out small cells. We know from data that operators have provided that they want to deploy a small cell at 10% or less of the cost of a macro cell, and that's a really demanding target to hit. So reusing any of the backhaul network already deployed is a great way to start doing that. It's easier or difficult depending on some of the backhaul technologies. So at CBNL we produce point-to-multipoint networks, and with a point-to-multipoint network, if that's already deployed across an area of a city, it's very easy then to add in additional sites. That's one of the key USPs of multipoint microwave. So depending on the technologies that are already there, operators are able to either very easily, in our case, or with somewhat more difficulty in other cases, reuse existing parts of the backhaul network. And of course that's something they will all do if possible.
We're seeing this massive increase in data traffic globally. What new solutions are being introduced to cope with that?
So there are a couple of things. We've seen very large increases in peak rates on mobile networks, and those are not always matched by large increases in the mean rate. So one of the advantages of something like point-to-multipoint microwave is that you can take advantage of the difference between the peak and the mean. So where you have a peak from one cell site, you won't necessarily have a peak from another cell site at exactly the same time. So by averaging together the peaks and the troughs from different cell sites, you can realise a statistical multiplexing gain. That's one of the signal advantages of point-to-multipoint technology. Nevertheless, evolution is still required, and this year we've introduced, for example, our wideband product that doubles the throughput of the system from 300 megabits per second to 600, and that's then therefore able to backhaul a very large number of particularly small cells, but also macro cells as well.
And how can backhaul be used to increase speed and reliability to wireless customers?
If we think about the operator first, because I guess that's the first part of the process, speed could either mean the speed of the access layer, or it could mean speed of deployment. And both are important for the end user quality of experience, because speed of deployment might mean rolling out small cells more rapidly to where the demand is, and that would have a very obvious effect on the quality of experience. Or it could mean the actual air-linked speed on the access side. In both those cases, those are things the operators will grapple with. But what stands behind that? No serving cell is useful without backhaul. So having backhaul which is able to provide some flexibility to the operator in terms of being able to choose their site flexibly, maybe at the last minute change from one site to another for logistical or kind of civil reasons, that's something that point-to-multipoint can very easily enable, because if you're on one side of a building roof or another, one lamppost or another, it doesn't really matter as far as the point-to-multipoint system is concerned. You can deploy there, align to the base station, and go ahead with your deployment. So in that way we enable quick rollout. By offering large capacity, so 600 megabits per second in licensed spectrum, we're able to then ensure that the speed experienced by the end user, as the second part of the question, is also very appropriate.
What do you think are the specific backhaul needs of small cells, and do you think that Wi-Fi can ever be a practical solution?
Yeah, I mean, we have a particular view on this at Cambridge Broadband Networks. We really believe that backhaul is backhaul. So, it's great that we've seen lots of new entrants into the backhaul space on the back of small cells. But if you think about it, an end user is going to, on their phone, see that they're on the Vodafone network or the O2 network, other networks are available, and they're going to not know whether they're on a small cell or a macro cell. So it's very important that there's a consistent quality of experience across those two things. That's important to operators from feedback we've received. So there aren't really too many compromises that you can make on the backhaul side just because it's small cells, because the quality of experience needs to be consistent. So Wi-Fi as backhaul, I'm not sure is a viable proposition, and that's not necessarily to pick on Wi-Fi as a technology. It's really a property of using unlicensed spectrum, and most operators I think would be hesitant to use that, except in some special circumstances, and there will always be corner cases where it could be just the right thing. But I think as a mass deployment, I'm not sure that Wi-Fi is going to find a large place for many operators.
Interesting. What role do you see for small cells beyond 4G and into future 5G networks?
Okay, that's the million-dollar question, really. So we've seen some research published here today by the Mobile Network that says that one of the top 3 challenges perceived by operators is backhaul for small cells. And that's been a consistent theme, actually, for at least 2 or 3 years. And it kind of comes and goes from the top spot, or number 2 or number 3, but it's always up there in the top 3 for operators. And it's one of the reasons why there's an awful lot of innovation in the small cell backhaul space. We've seen lots of new companies. Some of the names are on the board here. Technologies like point-to-multipoint microwave are really finding a place as an innovative solution that helps operators to solve some of those problems, because they give flexibility to operators in terms of choosing the exact point of their small cell deployment. It doesn't have to be chosen right at day one, and there's flexibility to go to anywhere within the coverage area, site a small cell, and backhaul capacity and high capacity is available right there. So there are innovative solutions that can really help operators to solve what they perceive as being one of the most significant challenges.
John Naylon, thank you very much.
Welcome.